My name is Hannah, and I have 6 years of experience with the tarot, and I wrote this book, and I read tarot cards. Awesome. So definitely a lot of beginners in the crowd, which is awesome. Like I said, I have been diving into the tarot for about 6 years now, and I got my first tarot deck years before that, but I didn't really pick it up. I wasn't really interested in it. But when I started to pick up the tarot and do some readings for myself, I kind of realized like, oh, this actually works. And all I was doing was pulling cards for myself and then going into the little guidebook that came with the deck and reading, whatever somebody else wrote about it and realizing like, oh, this actually works. This is actually telling me like a lot more information about where I am in life right now. And that's also, I know a couple of people I did some short readings for here before we started. And the thing that I always say before I start a reading is that there's a lot of connotations about tarot. There's a lot of people that use it for fortune telling or future telling or witchcraft and things like that. And all of that's fine. That's not necessarily how I use the tarot. I use it more for like self-awareness purposes, self-reflection purposes, and just to kind of create a different perspective of where you are in life right now. It can just kind of be like a extra tool to help give you perspective of orienting yourself to the human experience. So that's a little bit about me and the tarot. I wrote this little book called A Journey Through the Tarot. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. It is for sale here. But this is a book that I wrote in 23, right? Okay, 23. And I didn't plan to write a book when I wrote it. I had been studying the tarot for several years, and I went the traditional route of learning the tarot in this like very sort of academic way where I was like studying the meanings and trying to memorize the imagery and memorize, what someone else had written about the tarot and reading all of these different books and writing all of these notes and things. And I kind of had in the back of my mind this like, there has to be like an easier way because it's very esoteric and it's very personal. And if all of these other people have written things about what they feel the tarot is, like it can't be as hard and fast as everybody makes it seem. It shouldn't be something to memorize. It should be something to feel. And so, yeah, one day I had all of my tarot cards kind of laid out in order. And I had this sort of like download epiphany of like, oh, this is a journey. This is like the journey that we all have through the human experience. And I started to just write. I'm also very inspired by Alice in Wonderland, which you will see if you just look at the front cover of the book. So the book does sort of loosely trace themes of Alice in Wonderland, if anyone's into that. And just like the journey through, going down the rabbit hole, basically, which is the journey that we're all on in life. And that takes us, different places, but we all can kind of have these like markers, which is what I find the tarot to be really helpful in, is kind of orienting ourselves to where we are in our life's journey. So what I will do first is I'll read just the little intro from the book to kind of orient us to where we're at. And then what I'd like to do, if everyone is okay with it, is to do a couple little exercises to help you learn the tarot for yourself as well. And we'll kind of do a little bit of sharing with that. And we'll do a little bit of sort of some short, like guided meditations with that, if everyone's okay with doing that, and do some sharing. And then, just kind of go from there. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. So I will read the welcome of the book, and then I'll also read the first part of the book, which is the Fool, card 0 in the tarot. I'll read that, and then we'll sort of get started from there. You, my dear one, are getting ready to embark on an epic journey. A journey of self-discovery that will bring answers to some of life's toughest questions and open doors that will lead to worlds full of even more questions. It is all a journey on the spiral, falling down the rabbit hole in an effort to make the unknown known. Keep in mind on your journey that the tarot is a tool that has been used by many for centuries as a game and as a tool to understand life. How fitting, as life itself is just a game. This is my personal understanding of the cards. I see them as an epic story, one scene flowing into the next. I hope you enjoy this story guide. It is my hope that as you read, you may begin to think curiouser and curiouser. So here's the Fool. We start our journey at 0, the Fool, the seed of intention, the little tiny wormhole that says there must be something more to this life, the feeling right before you let yourself fall into the unknown. You may find you can easily put yourself into the place of the Fool as he travels through the different archetypes. Truly, this is what we are meant to do with the major arcana cards. These first 22 cards of the tarot are archetypes that help us break up our life into a journey of different experiences, an exploration of distinctly different energies. One energy leading into the next, with points where we can look back and see how far we've come. Once we say yes to the journey, everything changes. We are led on a spiralic voyage inward where everything looks similar but somehow different. Maybe we feel a little like Alice in Wonderland falling down the rabbit hole. This is a quote from Lewis Carroll. If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would, you see. Welcome to a world of your own, my friend. Through this journey, you may realize that nothing is really what you had thought it to be. If you can truly let go of what you think things ought to be, you will find an exciting new world waiting on the other side of the rabbit hole. Okay, so are you ready to go down the rabbit hole with me? So what I would like to do this evening is I'm going to pick a card here from the deck, and I'll pass it around so everyone can kind of look at the imagery a little bit. And then we'll do a short little guided meditation, just a couple minutes. And I'll explain what we'll do during that meditation. But what I really want to teach you is that tarot is not something to be memorized or learned. It's something to be felt and embodied. Anyone can read cards for yourself or for others, and it doesn't have to be this difficult, like, elusive thing. So what we're going to do is, let's see, how about we do it like this? You want to pick one? What do we got? The Two of Pentacles. Okay, so if you want to just take a couple moments with that and pass it along, and I'll wait to read from that. What we're going to do is, as you pass the card, as it comes to you, just take a moment to look at the imagery, feel any feelings or words that kind of come up as you look at it, and reflect with it. And then we will do a short guided meditation where I'll have everyone just close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. And I'll lead you through a meditation to kind of maybe bring some more things forward from this card. Then I'll have everyone share just a little bit about, maybe what came to them. Not everyone has to share if you don't want to. Share a little bit about maybe something that came to them. It could be a life experience that's personal to you. It could be just a couple words or a different picture. It could really be anything. And then I will read what I wrote from the journey through the tarot, and we'll reflect on that. Does that sound good? Okay, cool. You, my dear one, are getting ready to embark on an epic journey. A journey of self-discovery that will bring answers to some of life's toughest questions and open doors that will lead to worlds full of even more questions. It is all a journey on the spiral, falling down the rabbit hole in an effort to make the unknown known. Keep in mind on your journey that the tarot is a tool that has been used by many for centuries as a game and as a tool to understand life. How fitting, as life itself is just a game. This is my personal understanding of the cards. I see them as an epic story, one scene flowing into the next. I hope you enjoy this story guide. It is my hope that as you read, you may begin to think curiouser and curiouser. So here's the Fool. We start our journey at 0, the Fool, the seed of intention, the little tiny wormhole that says there must be something more to this life, the feeling right before you let yourself fall into the unknown. You may find you can easily put yourself into the place of the Fool as he travels through the different archetypes. Truly, this is what we are meant to do with the major arcana cards. These first 22 cards of the tarot are archetypes that help us break up our life into a journey of different experiences, an exploration of distinctly different energies. One energy leading into the next, with points where we can look back and see how far we've come. Once we say yes to the journey, everything changes. We are led on a spiralic voyage inward where everything looks similar but somehow different. Maybe we feel a little like Alice in Wonderland falling down the rabbit hole. This is a quote from Lewis Carroll. If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would. You see? Welcome to a world of your own, my friend. Through this journey, you may realize that nothing is really what you had thought it to be. If you can truly let go of what you think things ought to be, you will find an exciting new world waiting on the other side of the rabbit hole. Okay, so are you ready to go down the rabbit hole with me? So what I would like to do this evening is I'm going to pick a card here from the deck, and I'll pass it around so everyone can kind of look at the imagery a little bit. And then we'll do a short little guided meditation, just a couple minutes. And I'll explain what we'll do during that meditation. But what I really want to teach you is that tarot is not something to be memorized or learned. It's something to be felt and embodied. Anyone can read cards for yourself or for others, and it doesn't have to be this difficult, like, elusive thing. So what we're going to do is, let's see, how about we do it like this? You want to pick one? What do we got? The Two of Pentacles. Okay, so if you want to just take a couple moments with that and pass it along, what we're going to do is, as you pass the card, as it comes to you, just take a moment to look at the imagery, feel any feelings or words that kind of come up as you look at it, and reflect with it. And then we will do a short guided meditation where I'll have everyone just close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. And I'll lead you through a meditation to kind of maybe bring some more things forward from this card. Then I'll have everyone share just a little bit about, maybe what came to them. Not everyone has to share if you don't want to. Share a little bit about maybe something that came to them. It could be a life experience that's personal to you. It could be just a couple words or a different picture. It could really be anything. And then I will read what I wrote from the Journey Through the Tarot, and we'll reflect on that. Last little look at this, and then I'll ask you all to, if you feel comfortable, just kind of get into a comfortable position and either have a soft downward gaze or close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And just take a couple deep breaths and center yourself in this moment and in this space, allowing any stresses to just kind of melt off of you right now, any tension, really focusing your heart and your mind together. And holding the image of the card that was passed around, the Two of Pentacles. Seeing if there's anything from that image that stands out to you in your mind's eye right now. Not having any expectations, just simply allowing what comes up. Allowing any feelings, any words or phrases, any life experiences, any people, relationships, places or things that feel associated with this card to just come forward. And just noting those. Spending a little bit more time allowing things to emerge. And just spending one more moment as you recount all of the things that have come to you associated with this card in the tarot, preparing yourself to come back into the circle slowly. And whenever you feel comfortable, you can come back to conscious awareness and open your eyes. Okay. All right. So I will read after you noticed, I think a lot of people talked about the balance and the ebb and the flow with the waves. A lot of kind of similar perspectives of, each person got something that was a little different languaging maybe, but kind of similar. So I'll read what I wrote about the Two of Pentacles. So as I read from this, the structure of the book actually goes as sort of a journey of small poems. And so each suit will start with the ace and then move forward. So the beginning of it starts with the next lesson, which is comes after the ace. So this says the next lesson is about balance with the Two of Pentacles. Here you experience you must first achieve balance with what you have before you are able to gain anything more. Balance is often a juggling act. It can take time and patience. Perfecting the balance and practicing gratitude and respect for your small lot will prepare you for moving forward and stewarding more in the future. So, all of you beginners of the tarot that didn't know anything about tarot already got the balance, right? There's already, there's no lesson that you've learned before this, and all you did was look at the card, and there's all these very, similar sort of perspectives. So that's just a testament to the tarot can be very easy to learn. It's more just about embodying it. Does that make sense to everyone? Nice, cool. Does anyone have, I know I did a couple little readings before this, but I think that it'd be interesting. Does anybody have a card in the tarot that they're familiar with, or a card that came up in your reading today that you want a little bit maybe more information on or more perspective from the book? So let me just explain a little bit about the theory of the tarot, and you would, see this as you go through the book as well. So with the tarot, there are 78 cards. So there's more than a traditional deck of cards because there's what's called the major arcana and the minor arcana. So in the major arcana, there are 22 cards, and those are what would in a normal deck of cards be called like the trump cards, sort of. So those are the cards like that just have a name. So like the Empress or the Death card or the Lover's card. Those are major arcana cards. And those in tarot theory are more about like big overarching energies. And you'll find those in the first portion of the book. Before I get into the suits, the whole first portion of the book is just the major arcana cards. So that's where it goes through the journey of that. Then you're right, there's 4 suits basically in the tarot, and they do correspond to like a deck of cards. There's a lot of different correspondences with that. But it goes from the ace to the 10. And then there are also 4 court cards. So there's the page, the knight, the queen, and the king in each suit as well. And there's lots of different theory that you can use with that. But yeah, that's basically how it is oriented. Does that answer your question? Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Cool. Any other questions about like the theory of tarot or the structure of tarot? I maybe should have done that a little bit first. But yeah, that's how the tarot deck is structured. And that's how the book reads as well. So like I said, there's it starts with the major arcana, and then it goes through each card in the suit, and it goes from the ace all the way to the king card of each suit. And there's 4 sections of that. So the tarot actually was first there's a lot of different theories about why the tarot was created, or the first tarot deck, or anything like that. But before it was ever used for like divination or readings, it was used as a game. So the tarot used to be used as a game in like Italy and France, and before that even, it was really just created as artwork. So a lot of rich noble people would commission artwork, basically decks of artwork. And that's another way that I kind of, a metaphor for seeing the tarot is almost as like an art gallery. Because really it's so much about the imagery, and which is why I love different decks of tarot that are by different artists, that they kind of, use their own spin on it with the cards and the energies. But yeah, it's really just art. It's like you could be walking through an art gallery, and that can kind of, if you imagine walking through an art gallery, it's just a journey in and of itself. So imagining, starting with the Fool in the tarot and walking through and like seeing each one, and then going through each of the suits. I think that's a good metaphor to use for that as well. And I'm an artist also, so I just like to see it as just, it can purely be art. So the Lover's card actually came up for more than one person today as I was reading in doing short readings here before. So let's look at the Lover's card. We'll do the same thing and we'll pass it around. The Lover's card is one that everybody loves to get because you think of the Lover's card and it's like, oh, this is about, love and relationship and my soulmate or my twin flame or whatever you want to call it. And it can be definitely about that. But this card has a lot of other meanings as well. So we'll pass this one around and do just sort of a similar exercise with the Lover's card. The last card that we did, like we were explaining how the tarot works, the last card that we did, the 2 of Pentacles, that would be a minor arcana card in the suit of Pentacles. And this card is a major arcana card. So this is kind of those bigger overarching energies in the journey, less about a small portion of your life and more about a big sort of theme that you're going through in your life whenever this comes up in a reading. So we'll let that kind of go around and do just sort of a similar little exercise with that. Good? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we'll do just a similar exercise as we did the last time. We'll just do a little guided meditation, allowing whatever, imagery popped out to you from this card, any words, phrases, feelings, people, places, anything like that. And then we'll go around and share, and then we'll read a little bit from the book. So, finding your comfortable little place again. And recentering, bringing your awareness to your breath. Closing your eyes if you feel comfortable. And focusing on the energy of the Lover's card. focusing on any imagery that stood out to you, any colors, any pieces of the art, and allowing any phrases, any words or themes to come into your awareness. Just noting those. There's no right or wrong answers. Just allowing yourself to be open to what comes through. And just noting things as they come. Giving it one more moment to receive any last pieces of information, any last little associations with the Lover's card. And whenever you feel ready, just slowly bringing your awareness back to the room, back to your body, back to the space. And opening your eyes when you feel comfortable. And just keeping those things in your awareness that came to you in your meditation. All right, we'll read what the Lover's card is about here from the book. So the Lover's card is the 6th card in the Major Arcana. So again, the Major Arcana is those 22 big energy cards. So this is number 6 in the journey. So once your mastery reaches a certain level, consciousness must begin to experience itself outside the vessel it came here in. A mirror is needed, and so the lovers emerge. New worlds feel like they are bursting forth through the exploration of this experience. Being a soul in a body, seeing itself as though in a reflection, the energy starts to change and shift as new parts of the self are explored. The relationship with the self deepens as the relationship with the other blossoms. The heavens appoint and watch over these divine matches to ensure that the reflections are as clear as possible for the highest and greatest evolution of consciousness. Does that bring up anything for anybody? I know that card came up for a couple people today, so. Any expanded thoughts on that? Does that make sense based on what you guys were kind of getting? Yeah, a lot of times when the Lover's card comes up in a reading, people are like, oh yeah, lovers, like my soulmate, my twin flame. But then they oftentimes will look at the card and think like, oh, that doesn't look exactly like how I want my love life to look, and what I always usually say is that it's not as much about that like lovey, and if you've ever been in a deep relationship with another human being, it's not always about that very romantic lovey sort of thing, but more about that, how do I see myself outside of myself, how do I see my reflection so that I can become a better person and raise my own level of consciousness. And we can't really do that without a mirror. And I think it's really interesting. I can't remember, I think it was you that said the angel looks kind of dark. And that reminded me of like the shadow, like seeing those maybe like darker parts of yourself and that we can't always recognize if it was just us, but when we see it outside of ourselves, it becomes way more obvious. And sometimes we wouldn't have that opportunity to see that if it wasn't for the other, like seeing ourselves outside of ourselves in that mirror. So yeah, I can actually just give you a little taste of that. So the way that the book is oriented is you'll have the major arcana up in the front, and then each section you'll see this little page. So this is the suit of wands, and then I'll just read the sort of intro to the suit of wands so you can kind of understand how it's structured. So the wands intro is welcome to your journey through the wands. The suit of wands in the tarot takes us on a journey through the element of fire. The suit is about our energy, our own personal fire. We begin our journey through the minor arcana with the wands, the fire, as this is the element with which life begins. In astrology, the fire comes first. We must have the spark of life before anything else can be experienced. Everything is energy and nothing exists without it. This journey will teach you about your own energy, how to harness it, understand it, and manage it. Pay close attention to the progression and try to put yourself in the story. How can you apply this to your own journey? But above all, have fun. So that's what each sort of suit starts out with. And I think that it is sort of important as we seek to learn the tarot and kind of create our own meanings to the tarot based on our own life, to know some of those fundamental things. I think that's way more important than reading a book and trying to memorize each meaning of the card. It's, I think, more important and helpful to look at, whenever the suit of wand comes up, oh, okay, this is about fire energy. This is about, where I put my energy. This is about the spark of life, and then kind of orienting yourself to it from that way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So yeah, each of the suits has that. So there's 78 cards in a full deck. And there are lots of different interpretations of the tarot. So in a traditional tarot deck, there are 78. Some people have added cards. They'll have a tarot deck where they add different cards in, different major arcana cards. But in a traditional deck, there's 78. So 22 major arcana cards, and then the rest are minor arcana cards. Yeah. Any other questions or comments or curiosities? The death card. Yeah. Everybody hates the death card, which is understandable if you don't have like an awareness of the tarot. You don't want to sit down in front of some stranger and be like, the death card. But yeah, even if you read in what I wrote about it in the book, I am not scared of the death card at all. It's more just about death being a rebirth of sorts. You really can't have death without rebirth. And so usually when the death card comes up, it's just that you need to maybe let some things go. It doesn't mean you're going to die. It never really means that. Yeah. It does look a little scary. The Tower card looks a little scary too. If you ever see the Tower card, it's like this tower that's falling down and there's lightning bolts and these scary things. But I think one of the main things I think that I'm kind of trying to get people oriented to is, even if it feels scary or if it feels good, to not discount that feeling, but rather get information from that feeling. So it's like, oh, that card feels scary to me, but why? Like what other, maybe it'll bring up a time in your life that is associated maybe with the energy of that card, because tarot is just so much about energy. So it's like, oh, okay, all these experiences are kind of coming up right now that are associated. Like, how can I put those in a box together and create my own meaning for this card? That makes sense. Yeah.